Aquarian Pools and Spas. If you can dream it, they can build it. More than 50 years in business. Start your dream pool today. Aquarian Pools and Spas. 803-732-3636.
Last night, South Carolina improves to 19-19 on the season with a 8-6 victory over Davidson. And after the game, this is Monty Lee talking about getting above 500 again.
Well, we've won 4 games in a row. You know, I don't worry so much about we're at 500, below 500, above. I'm not as much concerned about that as much as I am that we're playing better baseball and we're finding ways to win close games. You know, we had a stretch there where we were losing those close games, right? And now we've been able to find a way to win the close games. 8-6 tonight, 6-4, 1-0, 5-2, I believe. So, I mean, we've been able to find a way to win those close games and get over that hump. So that just gives the guys confidence that, hey, you know, if we can do this. We can play 9 complete innings of baseball and find ways to win, you know, a tight ball game. And that's a good thing because it's good to have confidence late in a ball game with a lead versus feeling the pressure of trying to hold on. You know, we've got the confidence of like, hey, we get the ball to the right guys out of the bullpen and we play good defense behind them with a lead, we're going to win this game. And that's, again, teams that win a lot of games, that's what they do.
One thing that they didn't get a lot of would have been, 2-minute offense. That was primarily Lenoris and Cutter were the quarterbacks when we did those scenarios. But they lost a little bit of just game action in the stadium. But outside of that, it probably wasn't much different for those young quarterbacks than it would have been if we had had a spring game.
You take anything away from that?
Not really. Not necessarily. I don't know what you could have decided on the spring game that, given these guys the ability to play in front of some kind of crowd, would have put them in a situation, but that's not your end-all, be-all. And again, especially for a guy like Landon Duckworth, who's only been on campus for a couple months, you're not going to know everything about him this quickly. So I do think this is a battle, much like last year, that probably rages all the way through fall practice up until the start of the season. And again, you're hoping you're in a situation where you have to call on any of these guys in an emergency that Sellers stays healthy and, just bringing them in garbage time when you're blowing somebody out. But again, given Sellers' injury history, there is a strong likelihood that these guys can be called on early in the season, especially if it gets dinged up for a drive or a half or something like that.
Yeah. Noah Clark's an interesting prospect. He ended up being a 4-star on some of the recruiting websites. I always love, even having done it, Tyler, and still watching it play out, the physical size of recruits against the physical size of the player. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean Xavier McLeod a couple years ago was the best one at 6'6", 325 as a high school recruit out of Camden, who was then 6'4", 283 when he arrived at South Carolina. It was amazing how he shrunk and lost almost 40 pounds. When Noah Clark was listed as a recruit last year, he was one of the bigger defensive tackles I've seen listed well into the 330s, kind of depending on what website you go by and how they do that. 24/7 Sports had him at 6'4", 345. Now, I will say we've seen pictures of him, like some group photos of him and some different stuff. He does look like a mammoth human being that would be the space eater South Carolina's kind of been searching for in the middle. Yeah,
he definitely looks the part. Again, you can be an inch or two off or a few pounds off when it comes to those high school measurements, but there's no doubt in terms of like that get off the bus factor, he's somebody that definitely catches your attention.